Hello, I'm Guy Cater. Welcome to the Guy Cater Show. We have a couple of fascinating guests on the show tonight. First up, Pete McGregor. He runs the largest online entertainment agency in New Zealand. And then, following Pete, we have Erin, the bubbleologist. If you don't know what a bubbleologist is, wait till the second half. But first up, Pete McGregor. Let's say hi to Pete. Good to see you.
Guy, good to see you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Hey, I'm going to interrupt because
Go ahead.
Something's just occurred to me. Do you watch the TV program Jesse Stone?
I have seen that, yes.
Do you know that you are a spitting image of Tom Selleck?
I don't believe that.
You are. Well,
it's quite a compliment.
This is different hair, of course. You know.
Yes, yeah. And I smile more than he does.
Absolutely. You notice how I got that in quick because I've disrupted you see, so that there's no possibility of you hypnotising me. I don't want you to get in my head, right? Otherwise I'll be going...
No, we save that for the end of the interview.
Okay.
Although sometimes the people at home are already asleep, so we'll try and keep them awake this time. Now I've totally lost my thought. You've got the largest online entertainment agency in New Zealand,
yes.
and you're probably the perfect person for it because you're an entertainer yourself. Give us a little bit of your background.
Well, I'm a musician. Those of you who have met me know that. I'm a musician. Basically, I'm a bass player and band leader. I've been playing music since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Taught by the nuns.
Really?
Yeah, truly. And I've always had an interest in entertainment, obviously, always
Yes.
followed it. I stopped playing for 20 years. I got my first marriage. Stopped playing for 20 years. Marriage broke up, got back to playing, back into it, great. And in 1999, I started, 98 I think it was, I started a website to advertise my own musical product.
Yes,
which
of
was
course,
one of
because
my...
you sell basses, double basses?
Yeah, that as well. Yes,
Yes.
I started two websites. Yeah,
Right.
But the entertainment one was to advertise my own product,
Right.
Which was my swing band and my jazz bands and all that sort of thing. And fairly shortly thereafter, somebody approached me and said, "Do you play in a string quartet?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't, but I know one."
Yes.
And I organised for the string quartet to do a gig for these people, and then afterwards, that was all pretty successful, so I said to the guys from the string quartet, "Why don't you come on my website?" Which was Starlight String Quartet, who are still on our webpage.
Wow.
And one of our, well, obviously the oldest act
Yes.
with us,
Yeah.
John Fennell. And it kind of grew like that. It was like having a tiger by the tail, really, because I was kind of running one. It just grew topsy. And I was a bit lucky that simultaneously the world was discovering emails and
Yes,
things
of
like
course.
that, and which
Yes.
suited me because I'm a reclusive sort of person who doesn't like talking to people, so I can just email them instead.
And it's so easy these days, isn't it? But you've got to be up with the technology.
Yeah.
Now
He's getting his watch out. Hang on. Put that away.
No. So you started off with yourself and then the string quartet.
Yeah.
And you've gone on to comedians, magicians, hypnotists, bands, solo artists, ensembles.
Even cartoon drawers.
Balloon
blowers,
and bubble blowers.
Yeah, that's the one.
Your website covers a vast array. Now, forgetting the musical side for a moment, now you were probably the first agency in New Zealand to actually get on the internet. What brought that on? Did you have some information? Did you learn? How did it happen?
Not really. I was always interested in technology. In another life, I had
Yes.
sewing machine businesses, believe it or not.
Really?
And I... very early in the piece, in the days of the old Commodore 64.
I remember that.
Yeah. Well, I got Commodore 64 and I started running the accounts for the business on the Commodore 64. And so I've always sort of been interested in using computers to do things. And I had no idea what email was at all, really, sort of thing. I worked for a company at the time that didn't use it. They had the facility but didn't use it. And then I decided to put this web page up as a cheap way to advertise my own product, because that was the great thing about the internet. It was cheap. Didn't cost you a damn thing.
Yes.
And so we put the site up, just advertising. Had about 4 pages. That's all.
Wow. It's
And
really...
then started getting the inquiries in from that. And simultaneously, I gave up the day job, and I was writing charts or transposing the charts for my own band. So I was spending hours on that. But then gradually, the time spent on the internet grew and grew and grew. You know. Until it sort of got out of control for a while.
Well, it certainly paid off.
Yeah.
How many artists do you think you have on the website?
It's actually probably 18 months since Robin did a bit of a check. She has a spreadsheet that she kind of has everybody on, and there was 850.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite a
what
few.
proportion would that be to music and sight acts?
It's probably 70% music, I would say, which
yes.
was pretty much
Yes.
reflected in the way our business runs as well. 70% is music
yes.
and 30% variety. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the variety acts that you have there, what advice would you give to them, or to variety artists that aren't on your books?
Well, before I go to that, can I just mention that
You may.
the thing has changed in the last 18 months or so, in my opinion. There's been a lot of changes in the entertainment industry since 2009 with the crash and so on.
Oh, right,
and
yes.
companies are looking at different ways of doing things. Live music is not as big a thing. People have learnt that they can actually run an event with a bloody iPod, you know.
Oh,
sort of thing.
yes, yes.
So what I've discovered is happening, or what we perceive as happening, is that people are looking for just something different to actually enhance their event. And that's where the variety artists come in. You know, like
Right.
we're just talking about meet and greet, for instance. You know, we're talking about
Yes.
stilt walkers or jugglers or fire breathers and things like that. For brief periods, 15 minutes, half an hour before the event starts, and then they just get down to the business and
Yes.
carry on. So there's a real opportunity, I think, there for a variety artists at the moment. You know.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. So, do you have room on your book for any more
Sure do.
acts?
Yeah, yes.
You do?
Auckland, you know, we're reasonably comfortable, but always looking for new things, which
Yes.
is one thing I could say to variety artists out there, is get a point of difference.
Yes, yes.
You know, if you're a juggler, do it in a different way so that you're different from other jugglers, etc. You know, if you're a hypnotist,
Do different things.
hypnotise yourself. And
Yeah. I did notice at the Buskers Festival that you can only have so many people climbing through tennis rackets, and
Yep.
a lot of the patterns the same. I want to shake a few of them and say, make it a little bit more original.
Yep.
And they're the ones that you'd want to see, wouldn't you?
Yeah, too right. And
Yes.
down country, like if we're talking, you know, Tauranga,
Yes.
Rotorua, Hamilton, all the way down Christchurch, Queenstown, all around down there, we could do with a lot more in those areas. Because
Really?
at the moment we're shipping guys from Auckland down to
Right.
do jobs down
So
there.
just go through those places again?
Oh,
or anywhere
pretty
south?
much, yes, pretty much anywhere south of the Bombays.
Right.
If you've got an act, get hold of us. By all
Right.
means, yeah.
I'll have a word to you later on. There's a whole lot of people in Tauranga. There's a lovely group in Tauranga. We're going
cool.
to be having them here on this show.
Yeah.
And
That's why I like bumping into you from time to time, because you quite often, over the years, quite often you've actually pointed me towards some guys. You know,
Yes,
so it's always
yeah.
been a good thing. Yeah.
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
We've worked together quite a lot,
Yes.
different functions, and I've seen you at many functions in your doom. Is that called the double bass?
That's correct, yeah.
That's-
But also,
Yeah.
upright bass,
Upright bass,
slap
yes.
bass, ooh, hate that.
But these are just names, or they're
Just
different
names,
instruments?
yeah.
Names are the
Acoustic
same
bass, also, yeah.
Actually,
The real bass.
a real bass. I really don't know anything about real basses, and probably a lot of people out here
That's
don't
good, because
either.
I know nothing about hypnotism. So.
That's good. That's perfect. So you could tell us something about the basses, and of course your shop.
Well, what can I say about basses? I can tell you how I got to be a bass player.
Good.
I'd been playing other instruments, as I said, from the age of 5. When I first went to college, the music teacher, a guy by the name of Alf Gracie, this is Tauranga Boys College, called out that the school orchestra, which was very good, was looking for stringed instrument players. And I kind of went, oh, okay, I'll be up for that. And then I went, okay, violin, nah, too sissy. Viola, same applies.
Yes.
Cello, no, too sissy. Bass, that's me.
Wow.
It was as simple as that. And you know, a lot of the greatest bass players in the world, Neil Henning, Orsted Pedersen, people like that, simply, that's what happened. You know,
They wanted something more macho.
well, yeah, they came into it after doing another instrument.
Right, right.
You know, they might have been a trombone player or a saxophone player and so on, but
So
the band needed
what
a bass
were you
player.
first? What did you play?
Well, piano accordion.
From this
He laughed.
to that.
What's up with that? Yes.
Yeah. No. Oh no, I've seen you perform, and it really is just wonderful. And you sell them as well, don't you?
Not piano accordions, I don't know,
not
but basses I
piano
do, yes.
Tell us about that.
I started that about the same time as I did the entertainment agency. I was again, just looking ways to make money, I guess, when I gave up the day job. And so I bought in a few bases and sold them, and I had a place in my garage. I lined the garage and threw the car out onto the street and filled it up with bases and bits and pieces.
I actually saw that once, and the thought occurred to me, how many people buy them?
Well, it's not huge. It's never going to be a Queen Street shop. That's why it's in my
yes.
in my downstairs lounge.
Yeah.
But you know, we do okay out of it. It's my retirement plan.
Right.
Because I can do it no matter what age.
Yes.
I mean, the entertainment side's probably getting a bit. It will get a bit hard, you know, sort of thing as you get older. But the base selling, no problems.
I got to ask you this: of all the bands you've had and all the rest, you seem to become more alive when you're with people like Spike and Bruce. Who do you most enjoy playing with?
Well, Spike's my greatest mate.
Yeah.
He has been. I could just about tell you the story. We've got time.
We do.
I'll tell you the story about meeting Spike, because I was going out with a certain person at this time.
Actually, we'll just tell everybody, this is Mike Walker.
Yeah.
Brilliant keyboard man.
Yeah, that's the one. So she got this job. Her and I went out to lunch, and she got this job, and it was at Alexandra Park for a Sunday afternoon gig. Now, I'd recently been divorced, recently bought back my old bass, started playing a little bit, pretty rough really, to be quite honest. And she said, well, would you like to play in the band? And I said, oh, okay, if you think I can handle it, yeah, okay, sure. And she said, well, who will we get on piano? And I said, I have no idea, I've been out of the market for 20 years. And she says, oh, we'll get Mike Walker. And I went, because you know, like I hadn't actually met Mike before that, Spike before that, but I knew him by reputation. I'd worked down a Rotorua with a guy called Ronnie Smith, and he was like a total acolyte, I suppose you could say, you know, of Spike's. And he told me all about him. So I was terrified of this guy. So what happened was we turned up to do this first day of the gig, and Spike wasn't there. And so I was given this phone number, ring this guy up and say, are you coming, you know? So I rang up Spike and he said, oh yeah, there was a possibility of it, but I was never confirmed. He says, I'll be on my way. And as you know, he lives at Whangaparoa way there. So he dashed down and did the gig. And at the end of the gig, he said, yeah, that was okay. He says, we'll work on you with your bass playing. He says, but from now on, you do the bookings.
Really? Yes. Cool.
So, you know, we've been great mates now, and that's, I don't know, gee, 27 years or something like that.
Wow, that's a long time. Pete, it's been really awesome talking to you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. For those out there now that have seen this and they would really like to contact you and your agency, how do they go about it? What's involved?
The easiest way is to go on the website, which is www.bandsforhire.co.nz, and that should be printed across my chest.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not my chest, it's onto the mezzanine floor, isn't it? But,
we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. And there is a list your act.
Oh, there
button
is.
that you can put on there,
Right.
push on there, yeah.
Oh.
And obviously, if people are listening that are wanting some entertainment, variety hours.
Of course, yes.
Also go on the website.
Website. Here. Pete McGregor, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for coming along.
And I haven't fallen asleep, so that's...
No, you haven't. No. Sleep. Welcome back to the Guy Cater Show. I have a man sitting with me and he's a bubbleologist. Ladies and gentlemen, Erin, the Bubble Man.
Pleasure to meet you.
That is so beautiful.
Great to be here.
How long have you been a bubble man?
Well, it was about 10 years ago. I was living in South England and I was training as an actor at the Guildford School of Acting, which was a brilliant experience. And I was visiting a friend of mine, Roy, who is a professional storyteller, and he had this big plastic bubble sword. And he made big soap bubbles about this size. And we were playing with these big bubbles and I was enjoying making the bubbles. So when I got home, the first thing I've done, I ordered that bubble sword online and a couple of other bubble gadgets and started playing with those. And a few years later, I was in Berlin with my son and we were at a family event and we walked down the street and it was a beautiful Sunday market, German market and a play park. And there was a man who had sticks and strings and all kinds of funny tools, and he was making hundreds and hundreds of bubbles, giant bubbles and funny bubbles, and people were just gathering around and enjoying and watching, and children were chasing the bubbles and enjoying themselves. And I really got hooked up then. And when I got home from Germany, back to England, I looked online at some YouTube videos and saw what other bubble artists and bubble performers and bubbleologists do around the world, and joined some online groups where bubble professionals share advice about how to make the bubbles and how to mix the bubble solutions. And I started spending hours and hours at home rehearsing, experimenting, basically playing with bubbles, which was real fun. And then some friends of mine had a birthday for their son, and they asked, could you come and do some bubble show for our son for his birthday? And I did. I did another show for a youth group I was working with at the time, and it just picked up. So I've started doing bubble shows since then, and it's been great fun.
Some of your videos are fabulous. Before we get to that, you're called the Highland Joker. That to me would indicate you come from Scotland.
So, no, I actually grew up in the Mediterranean, and I moved to the UK to study. And I lived for quite a few years up in the Scottish Highlands. And when I started the bubble business, I call myself Mr. Bubbles as a character in my show. And but very soon I found out there was a clown, a local clown, called Bubbles the Clown. And everybody knows him as Mr. Bubbles, even though he doesn't make any bubbles in his show. He's a clown. So I couldn't call myself Mr. Bubbles because it was confusing for people. So I ended up with the name the Highland Joker, making bubbles in the Highlands and sending them high into the sky. And Bubbles the Clown still does his clowning up in Scotland.
So you've retained the Highland Joker.
So when we moved to New Zealand about a year ago, I've decided to keep the name the Highland Joker,
right.
And quite enjoying it. And people also know me as Erin the Bubble Man around here. So I mean, It's been great since I've arrived to New Zealand. I've been doing lots of shows. So I've designed an indoor bubble show that has a lot of bubble tricks, storytelling with bubbles, bubble magic, bubble art, bubble science, all mixed together. It's quite an interactive show. And I perform at birthday parties, weddings, libraries, schools, kindergartens, whatnot. And it's a lovely thing to bring to people. At the same time, I also have an outdoors bubble show, which is mainly for outside situation, like in a park or in the street.
Yes.
I go out to festivals, and I make lots and lots of bubbles and just let people enjoy, and the kids run around and try and catch the bubbles.
What is it with bubbles? I have a 91-year-old mother, Lila Cater. She loves bubbles. I bought a bubble machine for her. There's something about bubbles that really people get into.
Yeah, you see, you can go really a lot into the science of bubbles, but a bubble is a very simple thing. It's so beautiful and simple when you make a bubble. Like that. It's just magical.
Yes, it is.
And then you could also make a trick and turn it into a solid bubble like this.
Ah, very good. Wow.
So yeah, people enjoy the bubbles when they see them. They have just this magic in them without even adding the little tricks.
We
But
have
the
a little
tricks
video here of you
are great.
performing to children, and you hear the... well, let's have a look at it. Well, you see, I love that. The sound of the children, the cleverness of your tricks, and the beautiful bubbles. Fabulous.
Thank you.
Can you do anything here?
No, yes. So
He asked with all this on the table.
So since I've arrived to New Zealand, I like doing animal bubbles. So I'm going to make an animal, and you're going to have to try and guess what it is. So here is, what animal do you think this bubble is?
That looks a little bit, oops, like a chrysalis.
Well, actually, it's a sheep. Can't you see the wool? That's sheep shearing, and you've got some wool there. Ooh.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll make another animal for you. So you're going to guess what animal that is.
Oh, the suspense.
What do you think? What do you
That's
think it is?
beautiful. Look at
What do you
the
think
one.
that is?
Is it a caterpillar?
It is a caterpillar.
I thought so.
And now tell me, what do you think? What does a caterpillar turn into?
Into a butterfly.
Before it turns into a butterfly, it turns
Oh, a
into something
chrysalis?
else. A chrysalis, yeah. So we're going to make it into a chrysalis or a cocoon.
Oh, wonderful.
And what comes out of the cocoon?
It's definitely a butterfly.
A butterfly. Here it is.
Ah, gorgeous.
Now, physicists always say that a bubble takes the easiest geometrical form it can take, which is a sphere. Some physicists seem to think that a square bubble, a cube bubble, is not possible. But
I wouldn't have thought so.
in fact, there is a way of making a square bubble. If you make 6 bubbles together,
Square bubble. Never heard of such a thing. Ah, I can see where you're going.
so now we've got 6 bubbles clamped together. We're going to make a bubble in the middle there. And there you go, a square
Excellent.
cube bubble.
Now that is clever.
Anything is possible.
Wow. Yes. Brilliant. We do have a little bit of fun sometimes, and we ask the artists that things like, if you were still at school, or if you remember when you were back at school, and you saw a careers advisor, what sort of job do you think he or she would have suggested for you? Probably not bubbles.
Yeah, I think at the time I wasn't playing with bubbles when I was probably 17, 18, but I have always enjoyed playing with gadgets and with tricks, and I always brought to school lots of funny things that I found around, and so I was kind of a bit of the clown.
So you've
at high
always
school.
been a performer.
Yeah, I've always been a performer, even though I was quite a shy kid as well. I did join youth theatre when I was younger, and quite enjoy acting since I was quite young. But the bubbles certainly was an unexpected turn.
Right.
I just came across it, and as I said, I've got hooked.
Had you not discovered the bubbles, may you still have been at the Guildford School of Acting and perhaps teaching?
I still enjoy performing and acting as well, so I'm still in the acting circles at the same time. But I do find myself doing a lot more of the entertainment and working with the bubbles. And there's just something so beautiful about going out and just offering them. Also with my show, I've always tried to find a way of bringing something, some meaning and some content which is more inspirational. So it's not just entertainment per se. You know, I talk in my show when I perform in the indoor show to children about the time that I've spent serving in the army, and how I really wanted to travel the world. And then I left the army and I followed my dreams. I traveled the world. I've been in almost 40 countries throughout my travels. And then I came across the bubbles and I wanted to become a bubble artist. So I followed my dream again. And in a way, I've replaced the gun which I had during my army service, which was there in the name of war, and took instead a bubble one. So now I can blow bubbles for peace. And really what I'm trying to leave the
like
children
that.
with
Yes.
is, at the end of my show, is just with a question for them to take on. And that is, what is their dream? And so just to inspire them to take on and find out what they want to do that is meaningful in their life. And that's really important for me, that's also part of the show. So there's a lot of joy in seeing the bubbles and what we can do with bubbles, but there's also a message that goes through with it.
I think that's absolutely lovely. You have 2 children yourself.
Yeah.
Are they involved?
So I've got a 7-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter, and my son often comes with me since he was 4, actually, and he's got a little suit that says "Daddy's Little Helper," and he comes and he's really enjoying helping with the bubbles. And also here in New Zealand, he's come with me to a few of the library shows that I've been doing, and yeah, it's lovely to see him really wanting to join in and help with the bubble shows. So, and the little one as well, she's now getting into it as well. So it's great.
Well, I think you're going to do very well in New Zealand because it's really new. People haven't seen it in New Zealand. I don't know of another bubbleologist that goes as far. Do you think you're going to be remaining in New Zealand for a while?
Yeah, that's the intention. I know there's a couple of other people around in New Zealand who do outside bubbles. But I really enjoy doing both the indoors show and to very high quality at the same time doing the outside bubbles. I sometimes go out and just bubble in the streets of Auckland. Last year I had the
Bubble busker.
Yeah, bubble busker. So last year I had the opportunity to travel around Europe, and I took my bubble bucket and a couple of tools, and you know it was just fabulous. I met lots of other bubble artists,
Right.
And got the chance to bubble in Berlin, in Prague, in Budapest. In Amsterdam, so it was a really beautiful opportunity to do that, and so much inspiration I've got from all the different bubble artists. There's Tom Noddy in America, who's been doing it since the 1960s, Pep Bow in Spain, who's an amazing bubble artist, and numerous other people. Some of them I had really the honor to meet and bubble with. Really great joy to do that. So yeah, definitely busking in the street, performing in venues, meeting people. It's a great opportunity to work and meet people through the bubbles.
Well, I think you've done wonderful within the bubble world, but did you not say that I should be in the bubble world as well?
Yes, so in a minute I want to put you in a bubble. First I'm going to show you a couple of other tricks. This is there's a way of putting bubbles, this is some of my big bubbles there, inside bubbles, and that's just by blowing into a big bubble.
Oh, wow.
You get lots of bubbles. Oh, I love bubbles so much. I'm going to give this bubble a kiss. Mwah!
That is
Did
amazing.
you ever kiss a bubble?
Is that just water and soap, or is it?
So part of the bubbleology is the
secret.
mixture, often people ask me when I bubble at parks,
Yes.
oh, what do you put there in the solution? And I mean, there are recipes online, but it is a lot of experimenting.
No,
and
I
how do you
understand.
put the mixtures
Yes.
together?
Yes.
So yes, there's good fun things, definitely. So we're going to put you now inside a bubble if you'd like to.
Right. Well, here I am.
Are you ready
What
to be in a
happens now?
Are you ready to be in a bubble?
I'm ready to be in
All
a
right,
bubble.
Here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
Wow. That was wonderful. Looking through the balloon, the world just seems so awesome.
Yes.
Erin, thank you so much for being here today.
My
For the
pleasure.
people that have seen you and been amazed and impressed, how they get in touch with you?
So you can find me on my website, which is www.highlandjoker.com, and just get in touch.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's been a real pleasure having you here.
My pleasure as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for tonight. What a terrific time we've had. I'd like to thank my special guests, Pete McGregor and Erin Backler, the bubbleologist. And I'd like to invite you back here, same time, same channel, for the Guy Cater Show next week. And don't forget, it's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Good night.